Welcome to the era of Cardano Fruition. We've now reached that stage where all of the well-laid seeds and well-tended vineyards are finally producing fruit. Everything is now coming together since the meticulously laid foundation was one of first principles, not of haste and speed. The fruits of those long labors are now coming to hand, well-shaped and fully ripe, not deformed by the crippling effects of compromise and greed. We wanted to stab at not just the pond, but the ocean, not just a blockchain, but real decentralization, not just a base layer, but the fruition of the solved blockchain trilemma. Now it's harvest time for all those things. Ready? Let's go. Today, we're going to discuss a number of great developments in Cardano. You want to develop on Cardano in JavaScript? Now you can. You want to see by the numbers how we're dominating the competition? Right this way. Or do you just want to walk around in the very biggest Cardano metaverse? Don't worry, it's launching soon. If you're like me and you believe the only good grape is a liquid, bottled, fermented one, or if you're finding value in these videos each weekday, please consider delegating to the Army of Spies stake pool, ticker AOS. Also, sponsorships of these videos are open. If you're interested, please hit me up on Twitter at Army Spies. No of, just at Army Spies. Right now in Cardano, we're on the verge of something big. We're entering a brand new era. After all the years of work and patience and community building, all of those labors are going to lead to this new era of fruition that's pretty much starting this month when we get to see everything launch. If you name any project that a large number of people are looking forward to in Cardano, unless it's an NFT project or the handful of dexes and other projects that have already launched, and they're pretty small genres of Cardano projects that have already launched, unless it fits into one of those smallish categories. The NFT scene is big, true, and I love the dexes that have already launched. I love some of these other projects like ADA handles and World Mobile, but unless it's one of those small areas, it hasn't launched yet. And that's because they're waiting for Vossel. We're about to enter this era where pretty much everything launches. A lot of projects, but also some big overarching things that have been talked about in Cardano for a long time. And that includes the island, the pond, and the ocean. Okay, the pond part of that has always existed. That's sort of the rest of crypto, the EVM world, the account balance world. And of course, the island is Cardano. But the whole point of this metaphor is that we need to reach out into the ocean, the entire ocean of developers who have nothing to do with crypto, which is the vast, vast majority of developers. It's like the 99% of all developers. They haven't had anything to do with crypto yet. Maybe they own a little crypto, but they're not working on crypto stuff yet. We need to reach out in that ocean of developers because it's much larger than the small pond of crypto developers who are currently largely in account balance, EVM type projects. That's a small pond. We need to reach out in that ocean. And here we have a project that's a big step in that direction. Developers aren't just going to onboard themselves. They need certain things to help them get onboarded to Cardano. Things like libraries. And here we have Alessandro of Spacebuds and Nami fame with this post. Alessandro says, you can now vote for Lucid on Catalyst, a little thread on why I created Lucid and what I added over the past weeks and months. So what is Lucid? Lucid developing the easy way, Alessandro Conrad and Jenny Brito. Cardano didn't have a friendly and easy to use library for building transactions, interacting with Pluto smart contracts, and building dApps, making it very difficult to attract developers. Lucid is a library to help you develop dApps on Cardano using JavaScript, abstracting the complexity that comes with building Cardano transactions and allowing developers to focus purely on the dApp. So Alessandro says, after building various things on Cardano, I realized I've been doing a lot of repetitive work and made things more complicated when they should be more complicated than they should be. Of course, lack of tooling was another issue. Because of that, everything felt a bit hacky and not clean at all. With Lucid, I want to change that, creating a framework that captures everything around transaction building in the easiest way possible. A nice building block you can smoothly build on top of dApps, wallets, or just a simple donation button on your webpage, whatever you like. So what is the big deal? Why do we care so much about JavaScript? We care about JavaScript because, as Wikipedia tells us, JavaScript is the dominant client-side scripting language of the web, with 98% of all websites as of mid-2022 using it for this purpose. Think about that. 98% of all websites, there are a lot of websites out there and a lot of people developing websites. 98% of those websites use JavaScript. JavaScript is a gigantic chunk of the ocean. If we want to reach out into the ocean, JavaScript is a fantastic starting place. So thank you very much to Alessandro for developing Lucid. This man deserves a medal for everything he's done in the Cardano ecosystem, and I hope he gets the funding from Catalyst. I will go ahead and admit it is not a good thing to rest on your laurels and just think about your victories, but it's probably all right to every once in a while take stock of just how much you're dominating your competitors. And Suraj has a great way to do that. He says, you want to know how L1s are performing, but don't have time for research? We wrote a newsletter to help you out. And the newsletter is called Just the Metrics, weekly, easy to understand analysis of fundamental crypto metrics. When we come over here to Just the Metrics, we find out that it's exactly as advertised. Just the metrics. Okay, maybe a little bit of analysis thrown in there, but definitely a lot of metrics. And I love the way they've organized it. They've asked the most essential question. They're getting right to the root of the matter. Is Tezos a solid L1? Is Avalanche a solid L1? Is Solana a solid L1? How about Algorand? Is Cardano a solid L1? This is pretty much exactly what I want to see. Just the Metrics is created by Laura and Suraj. And when we jump into these reports, we can see that they give you some pretty pertinent information in a pretty concise manner, which is basically exactly how I want it. For instance, you can ask questions like, was the initial token distribution of Avalanche as fair and decentralized as that of Cardano? The answer is nope, not at all. How about Solana? The answer is nope, it was terrible. Look at this. According to this chart, only 1% to the public sell for Solana. How about our friends over at Algorand? Surely they must have done much, much better. Nope, not the case at all. According to this report, Algorand suffers from extremely concentrated token distribution in which greater than 60% of the token supply is controlled by founders and private insiders. Hence, we cannot call the token distribution of Algorand fair. And this initial token distribution metric is just one of the metrics they cover in Just the Metrics. Laura and Suraj cover a lot of other metrics, including this very interesting note on Algorand down here. They say Algorand is not a permissionless blockchain because only the operators selected by the Algorand Foundation can run a relay node. So if you want to engage in just the gloating, or if you're interested in metrics, I would come on over here and check out these reports from Laura and Suraj, Just the Metrics. You might think that the big Cardano metaverses are a long ways off. A metaverse is a lot of development. It's a lot of work. So who knows when they're going to finish these things? Will they be available in 2022, 2023, 2024? That's a legitimate question with a lot of Cardano Metaverse projects, but apparently not with what I didn't realize is billing itself as the largest metaverse in Cardano. More on that in a second. So it turns out that Reach Metaverse is actually launching pretty soon. Reach announces the largest Cardano metaverse. Reach Cloud is a platform to build, host, and connect metaspaces, making up the metaverse, and is powered by the Cardano blockchain. This is going to be cross-platform for browser, PC, VR, and mobile. And down here they say, making promises to be delivered many months to years down the road has become all too common with NFT and especially metaverse projects. This is true with a lot of metaverse projects in Cardano and outside Cardano. there is often not a lot of detail on when the things are actually going to launch. We've got a lot of Metaverse projects, and they are going to launch at some point in the future, but it legitimately may be 24 months down the road. Reach says Reach will be the largest live explorable Cardano metaverse as of September 30th. There will be 25,000 plus acres to explore on the Reach Explorer application with support for VR and mobile experiences coming soon. So they're claiming to be the largest metaverse. Kind of makes sense because I don't think we quite know how large some of the other metaverses will be, but Reach is saying they will be the largest live explorable Cardano metaverse. I think both parts of that are pretty interesting, that it's going to be this large, the equivalent of 25,000 plus acres. That's pretty large. And it will actually be live on September 30th, according to this. Reach says the first users who will be able to access their personal land plots will be the owners of the existing Reach condos on September 30th. I didn't even know there were Reach condos. I had to look in the secondary markets, and they, in fact, are there. There are Reach condos. It's funny I didn't know they existed because you've actually seen me a couple different times inside the Reach Metaverse virtual worlds. Both when I did the Meta Walk episode number 1 and also on the J Critical show, which is the show with J Crypto and Subcritical. That was also in Reach Metaverse. And I have to say, of the Cardano Metaverse projects where you can actually be on the ground, walking around in some way, which is a very short list. And usually the ways in which you can actually walk around on the ground are pretty limited. Reach seems to be way further along than any other Cardano Metaverse in that regard. I haven't walked around in any Cardano Metaverse which seems to be as advanced as Reach. So it's funny to me that I didn't realize they had these condo units that are already in secondary. But apparently the people who have those condos will be able to access their personal land plots on September 30th. They also say owners of land plots can customize their land and be able to build custom private spaces with Reach's builder on browser or in the app. This is important to me. I would much rather do it in the browser than to have to download some program from Reach, whether that's a mobile app or something for PC or Mac. I would much rather do it in the browser, so I really appreciate they made this possible on browser. I know this section might be a little confusing to some people. The first users who will be able to access their personal land plots will be the owners of the existing Reach condos on September 30th. Some people might be confused into thinking this means you automatically get a personal land plot if you have the condo. I don't believe that's the case, and here's why I say that. If we come over here to the Reach Metaverse Twitter account, we see this pinned tweet. Land sale starts on September 30th, 2022. Make sure to get a condo NFT to get 50% off. So to me, this makes me think that what they're really saying is, hey, if you have the condo, you can get 50% off on the land sale. And as a condo owner who has purchased land in that land sale, you'll get access to that land on September 30th before some other people. HasteHandle just dropped this video to explain subhandles a little bit better. In case you were confused how subhandles work, some of these still shots in this video might help you out quite a bit. You can see here, if you have the meld HasteHandle, then you can add these little prefixes on. Anon at meld, Charles at meld, John at meld, Tim at meld. And you can see why some people are thinking of the potential for subhandles for certain types of handles, like some of those ones that Carillo is currently selling, I think might have some good potential for subhandles. You could imagine, a lot of different people wanting to have their first name at some of those subhandles that Carillo currently has for sale. So if you're interested in any of those that Carillo has, hit him up. I know he would be happy to discuss those kinds of things. And if you want to learn more about subhandles, come check out this video. Finally, it looks like the claws of the Robbery forest can grasp not only at projects, but at individual holders. You probably already know this if you follow this channel, but it's not just projects on sort of an enterprise level who get hacked in the Robbery forest. It's also individuals using EVM account balance style wallets like MetaMask. Here we have a Cardano person. Macroman says he's a Cardano NFT collector. Chef Pool, Macroman. He says, anyone in the ETH or ADA or AGIX community able to help me figure out how I just had 25,000 AGIX tokens transferred out of my MetaMask? And of course, he's pretty upset about this. He gives everybody the transaction hash so people can see this is a real thing that happened. And of course, the first advice he gets is use a hardware wallet. Otherwise, you are open to hacks. He says, moved all my remaining stuff. Super disappointed. Only had on MetaMask to get the Newnet airdrop. Brutal. I need to know how this happened and or expose whoever did this. And of course, he got some responses there. Someone said, if it's MetaMask, Julian said, if it's MetaMask, then that is an Ethereum-based attack. Your MetaMask itself may have been compromised some way. I have heard that happening before. Sorry for your loss. So this is something that's pretty common with MetaMask. And it's not... Part of it is just because there are so many people using MetaMask. It's a smart target. If a villain, some villain in the robbery forest is going to try to figure out how to hack people via their wallet, of course, it's probably a good idea for them to target one of the biggest, most commonly used wallets, MetaMask. But once again, this theme continues. If you are involved in the robbery forest, you seem to definitely be at a higher risk level. You're taking bigger risks than we've experienced so far in Cardano. There will be hacks in Cardano. I say this all the time. There will be hacks in Cardano. It'll happen here as well. We're just hoping that it's not as bad as it currently is over there in the EVM world, in the account balance world, in the Ethereum world, in the robbery forest. We're hoping we can do a little bit better than that. But I agree with the advice given here. Definitely put your assets, if you care about them, on a hardware wallet. If you don't have one, grab one. Pretty much any of the big hardware wallets, a Trezor or a Ledger, were great. I use Ledgers. There's an affiliate link in the description box below. I hope everybody already has them. I hope you already have a hardware wallet of some type. I hope you're having a great week, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.